Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, my dears. Inshallah, today we are going to continue Unit 2. Please be prepared with your course book on page 16 and 17. Today, inshallah, we are going to continue speaking about our personal identity. You and your family, do you know more or do you know enough about your family? Are you sure? Okay. Can you tell me or can you say your full name? You can say your name and your father's name and your grandfather's name, excellent, and your great-grandfather's name, and for how much do you know your family? That's our lesson today. So what do you know about your grandparents' early lives? Do you know your grandparents, where did they live? Or your great-grandparents, where did they live? Okay. Do you know anything about your great-grandparents? As we said, let's take this survey or let's take this quiz. How much do you know about your family? We have 10 questions. If you answered them all, you know your family very well. If you don't, okay. So you need to know more about your family. The first question, what are your grandparents' first names? What are your grandparents' first names? And grandparents, which means, well done, your grandfather and your grandmother. Number 2, where were your parents born? Where were your parents? Where was your father born and where was your mother born? How many brothers and sisters? Not have you got, no. How many brothers and sisters did your grandparents have? I think it's a bit difficult question. Number 4, where were your great-grandparents born? Not your grandparents, no, your great-grandparents. And after these questions, we are going to know how can I call my relatives. What is your father's date of birth? The next one, how many aunts and uncles have you got? And what are their full names, not their first names? Number 7, how many cousins have you got? Your aunts or your uncle's sons or your uncle's sons, yeah. How many aunts and uncles have you got? And what are their full names? The next one, how many cousins have you got? And can you name them all? Number 8, have you got any relatives you have never met? Do you have any one of your family members you have never met before? Maybe he is living in Australia or he is living in the United States of America or any country. Next one, have any members of your family immigrated to other countries? Immigrated, which means who traveled and he lived or he settled there in that country. So do you have who and where? The last question, are there twins in your family? If so, are they identical? Okay, let's know or let's watch this video now.
Each of us belongs to a family. We have parents. Our parents have parents. And their parents have parents. Well, you get the idea. This is called our family tree. It tells us who our ancestors are and where we come from. If you're like most people, you probably know something about your grandparents, and maybe even your great-grandparents. But after that, things get a little fuzzy. Family history helps us uncover the rest of our tree, and it's a lot easier than you might think. Doing family history work used to mean long hours in the library, poring over dusty newspapers and microfilm. With birth records and historical documents scattered across the globe, it could take days and sometimes years to make even small discoveries. Fortunately, that's all changed. Records which were once only available on paper or film have been scanned, digitized, and loaded into large databases that are accessible from any internet-connected computer. Now, with just a few clicks of the mouse, you can access military, census, immigration, and other historical documents, and learn things like where your ancestors lived, their occupations, property ownership, and much more. Living relatives are another great resource for information. They can share stories and memories that will help you gain a very personal glimpse of your ancestors. They may also have research of their own that they can share with you. Finally, take a look through your attic. You never know what treasures you might find. As you add detail to your family tree, your ancestors will come to life. You'll learn about interesting people, like great-great-grandpa Joe, who served in World War I, or great-grandma Susan, who acted in black and white films. You might discover things you have in common. A love of music, just like great-great-grandma Jean. A sense of humor, just like great-grandpa Rick. You may even notice striking physical similarities, which help explain things like how you got such big ears. Most importantly, learning about where you come from will help you understand more about who you are. As you connect with family members, past and present, you'll gain a sense of purpose and belonging. And this is what family history work is all about. Are you ready to discover your family tree? To get started, please visit familysearch.org/get started. This has been a production of Stuff Made Simple.
So, are you ready to discover your family history? But before you do, make sure that you are going to take long hours. Not long hours, you are going to take long years, maybe. So, as we had seen here, when you know your father and when you know your parents and you know your grandparents, what about more? Do you know your great-grandparents? Do you know your great-great-grandparents? So if you would like to discover your family history, you can look on this website and it helps you. Okay, let's move to page 17 now. We have an exercise. Exercise 1 here. Look at the questions which we had read before. So we need to look at these questions in the quiz on page 16, and we need to find the words for the same meaning. Like in number 1, I need a word from these questions which means mother and father. That's the word parents. Exactly. What about number 2? Your parents' parents. Your parents' parents. So they are called accent, grandparents. Number 3, your uncle's wife. Your uncle's wife. That's your aunt. Well done. And by the way, your father's sister, it's called also aunt. Number 4, your aunt and uncle's children. Your aunt and uncle's children. They are called, well done, cousins. And number 5, people from the same family. Anyone from your family, so anyone of your family members, he is called your relative. He is called your relative. That was in question 8, which is written, have you got any relatives? So relative, which means people from the same family. The last question, or the last sentence we have here, we need a word which means brothers and sisters of exactly same age. When there is a sister and brother, or brothers or sisters of exactly the same age, they are called twins. Well done. That's the end of our lesson today. Inshallah, tomorrow we are going to finish unit 2. By the grammar, we are going to study the apostrophe, S or S apostrophe, and we are going, inshallah, to take a remarkable journey by the end of this unit. Thank you, inshallah. See you tomorrow.